What happens when a beloved British actor's polite demeanor finally snaps under pressure? In just 43 seconds, Lorraine Kelly's morning show went from cheerful banter to complete chaos, leaving viewers across the nation stunned and the host scrambling to regain control. The morning had opened with the familiar coziness of the Lorraine show: soft studio lights, warm colors, that welcoming purple sofa, and Lorraine's signature smile. But something was already off from the moment Colin Firth stepped onto the set. Known for decades as the epitome of composure, grace, and controlled charm, Colin carried himself differently today, quieter, heavier, like a man who hadn't slept properly in days. He sat down opposite Lorraine, ready to talk about his latest film, a project he'd been passionately involved in for months. But Lorraine didn't start with the movie. Instead, she leaned forward, voice lilting with that practiced morning show friendliness that millions recognized instantly. Right then, "We're absolutely delighted to have the wonderful Colin Firth with us this morning." The shift happened when she said the next line. "Now, Colin, darling, I have to ask you about something that's been all over the papers this week." Colin's jaw moved almost imperceptibly, just a tightened muscle, but enough for sharp-eyed viewers to notice. This wasn't what he'd been promised. There had been a strict agreement with the producers: film only. No personal questions. No paparazzi nonsense. But Lorraine had stepped right over the line. Her tone slipped into gossip mode, silkily casual, almost playful. "Everyone's been talking about your personal life lately, and I think our viewers deserve to know the truth." Colin's reply was calm, but edged with warning. "I'd really prefer to focus on the film today, Lorraine. That's what we agreed to discuss." She waved her hand dismissively, a gesture that instantly shifted the energy in the room. "Oh, come on now. You can't expect to come on television and not talk about the elephant in the room." That was the first crack. Colin's brow furrowed. What elephant would that be, Lorraine? And with almost theatrical satisfaction, she delivered the blow. "The separation rumors, of course. You and Livia. After 20 years of marriage, surely you can give us something." Silence. Thick, heavy, uncomfortable. In that moment, something deep inside Colin, something he'd buried for years beneath politeness and professionalism, shifted. The calm surface wavered. The pressure valve began to rattle, and the world had no idea what was about to erupt. Colin's eyes narrowed just slightly, as though the words themselves had stung. For years, he had endured tabloids, paparazzi, and fabricated headlines. He had survived painful rumors that twisted reality into cruel entertainment. But this, being cornered on live television, blindsided by someone he believed to be a friendly host, felt like betrayal. Lorraine, sensing the rising tension but mistaking it for an opportunity, leaned in with manufactured sympathy. "Don't be shy now. Viewers are worried, Colin. They want to know how you're holding up." He exhaled slowly, a man wrestling with patience. "Lorraine, with all due respect, this is not what I came here to discuss." But Lorraine, buoyed by years of being told she had the nation's trust, pressed harder. "You're a public figure. People will talk regardless, so why not set the record straight here? With me?" It was the words, "with me," that broke something. As though she were offering a safe haven, while poisoning the water at the same time. Colin straightened, his composure sharpening like a blade. "No," he said quietly. "What you're doing is using my personal life to manufacture drama." Lorraine blinked, taken aback by the firmness of his tone. It wasn't loud. It wasn't angry. It was controlled, and that made it more dangerous. "Oh, don't be dramatic," she said with a thin laugh. "It's just a question." Colin's gaze hardened. "No, Lorraine. It's not just a question. It's a violation of trust. It's exploitation. And it's exactly what makes actors wary of interviews." The audience shifted uncomfortably. This wasn't morning show fluff anymore. This was something raw. Lorraine's smile faltered. Her confidence slipped. "Colin, please. People are watching. Let's keep it friendly." "Oh, I'm being friendly," Colin replied. "More friendly than this situation deserves." A producer off-camera gestured frantically, urging Lorraine to pivot, but she didn't. Ego wouldn't let her. "You're overreacting," she said, her voice cracking. "Just barely. It's harmless gossip." Harmless. The word hit him like a spark to gasoline. Harmless. He repeated. "To whom? You? The newspapers? Or the people whose marriages, families, and personal struggles you turn into breakfast entertainment?" The studio froze. Even the cameras seemed to hesitate. Lorraine looked stunned, visibly rattled. She had expected playful banter, not a philosophical dissection of her entire career. And Colin wasn't finished. Colin stood slowly, deliberately, his shadow cutting across the polished studio floor. The audience gasped. Lorraine's eyes widened. Morning shows weren't meant for standoffs. They were meant for cupcakes and celebrity smiles. But this wasn't a smile moment. Colin, sit down, Lorraine whispered urgently, attempting to regain control. We're live. He met her gaze, the steadiness in his eyes suddenly intimidating. Oh, I'm aware. She tried again, softer this time, performing humility instead of feeling it. Let's just calm down. Calm down, Colin repeated. You ambushed me with the one topic I explicitly said was off limits. And now you expect me to simply sit here, quietly while you twist the knife? Lorraine flinched. The words weren't shouted. They didn't need to be. They carried the weight of a man pushed past the point of civility. Colin, please, she said. I'm just doing my job. He studied her for a long moment. Is that what you call this? A job? Her jaw tightened. I'm a journalist. No, he said firmly. You're a presenter. A host. And hosts, good ones, know how to respect boundaries. The crowd murmured. Lorraine's face paled. Cameras zoomed in and out, unsure where the story was unfolding fastest. His anger, her unraveling confidence, or the producers frantically whispering through earpieces backstage. Colin, she said, voice trembling now. This isn't fair. Fair. He gave a short, incredulous laugh. You invite me here under false pretenses. Ignore agreed topics, and broadcast my personal life to millions. And you dare speak to me about fairness? Lorraine opened her mouth, but nothing came out. Her hands trembled slightly as they clutched the cue cards. She no longer knew how to use. Colin continued, quieter now, but sharper. Do you ever think about the consequences? About the damage done to actual human beings? Or is it all just content to you? The question struck deep, so deep she visibly swallowed. Colin, she whispered. He turned away, scanning the room, the stunned audience, the frozen cameras, the crew staring wide-eyed from behind monitors. This is exactly why actors hesitate to come on shows like this, he said. Not because we're fragile, but because we're tired of being treated as storylines instead of people. Lorraine's mascara shimmered under the lights. She blinked hard, fighting emotion. And then, slowly, deliberately, Colin picked up his jacket. Colin held his jacket loosely in one hand, his posture steady, his breathing even, but the atmosphere around him was electric. Charged, on the brink of collapse. Lorraine watched him, eyes glossy, caught between indignation and shame. Colin, she said softly, if you walk out, it'll look bad. He paused, not out of hesitation, but disbelief. For whom? For you, she whispered. For the show. For all of us. For me. He shook his head. No, Lorraine. What looks bad is ambushing someone on live television, then acting like they should be grateful for the intrusion. The crew stood motionless. Nobody dared breathe. This wasn't TV anymore. It was reckoning. Lorraine folded her hands, her voice a ghost of its usual cheerful tone. I didn't mean to hurt you. He looked at her, really looked at her. Not with anger now, but with something heavier. Intent doesn't erase impact. She recoiled slightly, like the words themselves had weight. Colin stepped closer, not threatening, but resolute. Do you know what happens when you treat someone's private life like morning entertainment? You normalize disrespect. You tell young actors watching right now that being successful means giving up their humanity. He gestured toward the cameras. This isn't journalism. It's voyeurism dressed up for breakfast television. Lorraine's lip trembled. I've been doing this job for decades, she said, her voice cracking. I've interviewed prime ministers, activists, legends. I don't need you telling me. He cut her off gently. That's the problem. You've been doing it so long. You've forgotten that the people you interview bleed. Feel. Break. A tear slipped from the corner of her eye. The audience saw it. The cameras saw it. And for the first time in her career, Lorraine Kelly was speechless. Colin turned toward the exit. The room held its breath. At the doorway, he stopped one final time. You had a chance today to have a meaningful conversation, to highlight work, not wounds. Instead, you chose gossip. His final words dropped into the silence like a stone into deep water. I hope the ratings were worth it. The soft click of the studio door closing echoed louder than any shouting match. Lorraine sat alone, stunned, her carefully crafted persona shattered. The crew didn't move. The audience didn't clap. The nation didn't blink. And somewhere far beyond the bright studio lights, a deeper conversation about ethics, humanity, and the cost of fame had already begun.